It's about time.
A very good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Times Exclusive here on Times Network. My name is Brian Banda, thanking you for joining us tonight in this edition of the program. The program tonight is coming to you under the auspices of Rainbow Paints.
Wow, I think Cape Beach looks amazing on the door.
The electric blue calls it for me.
Come on, look at the tango, candy pink, burnt orange, ochre sweet lime.
Do you like what you see? You can dream it and live it. Download your Rainbow app today and begin the magic of transforming your home into a fabulous space. Rainbow Paints. Peace of mind. Part of the deal.
My guest tonight is the Dean of the Faculty of Law at the University of Cape Town, Professor Danwood Chirwa. Professor, thank you very much. We thank God for technology that we can be able to talk to you whilst you are seated in your office in Cape Town. Thanking you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Brian. It's a great pleasure to be with you and to be on your show.
To those that may not know you, may you quickly define who you are? Who is Professor Danwood Chirwa?
Thank you. So I'm a legal scholar specializing in public law. I got my first degree from Chancellor College, the University of Malawi then, and pursued postgraduate studies in South Africa, both master's and doctoral studies. And after I completed those studies, I joined the academia. Of course, I joined well before the completion of the third degree, the doctorate. But I've been in South Africa since that time. I enjoy the academia a lot.
Why South Africa and why South Africa and not Malawi?
All right, so this has a long history. In fact, it's to ask, why are you in South Africa and not Malawi? It's got a long history. When I was doing my PhD, I tried to get to teach at the University of Malawi, but at that time it was not possible. And so, because by that time it was clear to me that what I was interested in was in the academia rather than in legal practice. And so I had to remain in South Africa, and that has proven to be quite useful to me, but I would say in some ways to the legal profession, legal scholarship in Malawi as well. So it was difficult to accept that I had to work outside, not in my own country, but over time I've accepted that, and it's proven to be the correct decision that I made at that stage.
Now you comment quite often on the happenings here, and you have rightly said that you have been outside Malawi for some time now. People might be interested to know, why are you so much interested in commenting on the developments from here? What are your interests, Prof?
So it's a fair question to ask, because there's always what's next, what is underneath, what is the purpose of this. It's very simple. So as a scholar specializing in public law, you are interested in governance, you're interested in how states run and operate, how the institutions of the state function, that's part and parcel of what you research and what you teach. And because of that, as an extension, you have also to engage in society, because then there's a gap between the academy, the research that happens, and then the practice of governance. So you have to bridge that gap by having what we call public intellectuals to participate in the debates, to try to shape the narratives, to point out where things are going wrong, and to make suggestions. That's the role of an academic. That's the role of public intellectualism. I'm paid for this, so I don't have to do it. But as part of my job as an academic, it's expected of me that I'll engage publicly in that manner. But that's just a small part. I just don't comment on Malawi. I also comment on South Africa, other African countries as well. In addition to engaging in some more concrete things, such as helping government with policy work, legal reforms. I also am involved in UN work, United Nations work. I currently chair what is called the Trust Fund, the board of the Trust Fund on Contemporary Forms of Slavery, which supports organizations around the world on issues of contemporary forms of slavery. It's a global issue. I'm also a member of the South African Legal Practice Council. It's a huge operation compared to the Malawi Law Society, for instance. I'm a member of council there, and we regulate the entire legal profession in South Africa, which is vast and huge. And so my role goes beyond commenting on Malawi. It's vast, and it's part of my job. I see it.
So I understand that people are entitled to their opinion, and you are probably entitled to yours as well. But in what capacity do you, when you comment on developments here at home, do you comment as the Dean of the Faculty of Law at the University of Cape Town, or in your own capacity as an individual?
I comment in my capacity as an academic, so not as a Dean of Law, although that title tends to be used depending on which media firm choice, but it's really the academic aspect of it. It's an extension of the academic job. It's part of academic freedom, the exercise of the academic activities that come with professorial appointments.
And when are you coming back home, Prof? You seem to be so interested in the developments here, but you don't seem interested in speaking from here. You would rather speak from Cape Town.
I haven't left Malawi in some sense. So I've been out of Malawi for 21 years, but I haven't left Malawi in a sense, because I come there quite often, often silently, but I'm there. I engage all the time. I'm involved in the education of Malawians. We have many Malawians that come to the University of Cape Town, partly because I come here and people know about it, and then they can associate themselves with. And there's a large number of postgraduate lawyers, and even beyond the medical profession comes to Cape Town a lot. It relies on Cape Town. So there's those links. I have doctoral graduates from Cape Town that have supervised. So I'm engaged a lot. At some point between 2007 and 2014, I founded what is called the Malawi Law Journal. It was an academic venture that was a collaborative effort between us academics in the diaspora, the Malawi Law Society, and Chancellor College, of course. And we were doing a lot of research Perhaps up to now, the more sustained research on legal issues in Malawi, that is there. And of course, we continue to conduct research. I myself, my main goal is to complete, before I finish my academic endeavor, I need to complete some research that have defined the goals for myself. And I'm not yet done it. It will take me another maybe 10 years to do so, to complete that. And that work is on Malawi. I need to do that. I have spent so much time developing myself academically. I have to do that. And after that, I can sit back and perhaps return home. But I'm an academic. That's where I'm placed and I'm comfortable with.
After 21 years living outside Malawi, how is your Chirwa?
Chilipo, sichinachoke kwambiri yai, but chilipo, chitumbuka, chiliposo, chitonga, chomamboko ngwamdara.
Ndiye mundilole kuti tipitilire interview yathu mchichewa chifukwa poyankhula Chingerezi taya ena amene sangathe kutitsatira. Would that be okay with you, Prof?
Ndiye sir.
Nafunsa mchichewa mucha kuti zikukhala ngati ndi fashion, mchengerezi muza zikukhala ngati ndi fashion kuti anthu amene ali kunja kwa dziko lino akumafuna kuthirira mulomo pa zimene zikuchitika akuno. Chikumakhala chifukwa cholikonda dzikoli kapena kungofuna kuti andione.
Funso limenelo ndroyenera kulifunsa. Koma kayankhidwe kake nkosavuta ya. Munthu aliyense amene wachoka mdziko lake akamakhala kunja amaona zinthu mmene zimayendera kunja kwa maiko ena, amaona kuti kwathu kuja mmene zikuyendera muja sizikuyenekera kumakhala choncho. Nchifukwa chani kwinaku zikumayenda bwino kwambiri, kwinaku kwathu zinthu sizikusintha. Nchifukwa chani apolisi akuoneka osauka kwambiri pamene kwinaku apolisi akumakhala ndi manyumba, akumakhala magalimoto okha, aphunzitsa ana skulu. Chifukwa chani kwinaku kuli misewu, kwathu kuja misewu ikungooneka yonongeka. Chifukwa chani makhalidwe anthu mmene akukhalira anthu akuoneka kuti akuvutika, and akumakhala kuti zikuonjezeka, you know, the situation doesn't change. Ndeno ngati ineyo ndikamapita ku Malawi ndimakhala osangalala kwambiri kukumana ndi achibale, anthu amene unakula nawo. That's the first thing. Koma ukamakagona tulo, you feel sick.
Yeah.
Kuti anthu anzathuwa amakhala bwanji moyo wawo mmene ulilima. Simamvetsa chisoni kwambiri. So chimakhala kufuna kuona chosintha, you know, to see our people happy, to see their life change. Mtima wake umakhala umenewo. Anthu ambiri amene amakhala kunja amakhala ndi mtima umenewo. Samakhala ndi mtima woti andione ine and that's not really important. Ambiri ndi anthu woti ndiwoziwidwa internationally. So Malawi is not really a place kutazishaina. No, it's not really like that. It's kufuna zabwino for your country. That's the point.
Muganiza kuti chimene chikupangitsa kuti dziko lathuli lisatukuke nchiyani? Muta walankhula kuboma kayenda president, panopa umphawi wafika pachiyindeinde. Muganiza kuti mavuto athu ndi chiyani kwenikweni kuti maiko anzathu akutukuka koma ifeyo kunoko sizikuyenda? Kulikonza kwake nkutani pofunika kugwira ndi pati, Professor Danwood Chirwa?
Funso limene Mchichewa lindi vuta kuliyanka.
Feel free to
yes,
to mix the two languages.
To mix. Yeah. Maiko ambiri and throughout history.
Yeah.
There's palizolemba panopachi kafukufuku wota kunena kuti the greater the challenge a country faces, the higher the chances that people will innovate and come up with solutions. Civilization began that way. Without humans being challenged, you never come up with solutions. You live the same way. That's what how people explain why there was civilization in Egypt, Mesopotamia, whether it was Rome, Greece. Why did it happen there? Chimakhala kuti nthawi imeneyo zikuyambika zimene zozo anapanga face chinthu chovuta china chake chinapangisa kuti aganize akhale pansi kunena tipange solve it. Malawi is an exception in this, that we seem to be mired in the same basic problem, which is not a difficult problem. The problem is one of people doing their jobs. That's as simple as it is. Umuntu ukamafika mu office uzigwira ntchito imene unalembedwa. Ukakhala mu cabinet uzigwira ntchito imene unalembedwa. Every day, osati kumaika mu tray. That is the simplest definition of the problem. So, corruption is a symptom of people not doing their jobs right. Nepotism is a symptom of people not doing their job right. We seem to talk, we seem to have the ideas, but we don't do what we're supposed to do. That's our problem. And culturally, we don't do things. That's it. I have been at this university for a long time. And at first, I was surprised why are people, it's a very successful university. It's the best in Africa. At first, I was surprised why people were so obsessed with trivial things, really trivial things. They worry about trivial things. You can't postpone a lecture. You can't, if there's a holiday coming up, people are worried. We have to have makeup classes. Why? So people are excited about small details and small things. Because of that, you don't get crisis. You don't get to deal with major failures of the system. That's the second bit is that because we don't do what we're supposed to do, we don't have a system that holds people accountable for not doing what they're supposed to do. And that's also partly cultural. So you have an interplay between the formal systems, which is the laws that exist, the institutions that exist of accountability, the rules, the norms, and then the informal, which is the huge panorama of existence in Malawi, where there are no enforceable norms. There's flexibility, there's negotiation. You can get away with anything. So all these traditional systems fall into that. The religious systems fall into that. And our whole cultural fiber. And that clashes with the formal, and informal ends up dominating the system. So no matter what changes we make at the formal level, we will have a constitution. We'll create the office of the SEB. We will create the office that deals with declarations. We are quick to do all of those things, but nothing changes because we still are dealing with the establishment of the rule of law. Kuti malamulo azigwira ntchito, kuti chikhalidwe chathu chikhale chogwira ntchito. muntu akakupasa ntchito iyi ukuyenera kuzigwira ntchito imene wapasidwa. That's still our problem.
I'm glad you touched on the rule of law. One of the pillars of Tonse government, imene anka wauza Malawi kuti awavotere, was that they will focus on the rule of law. They have been in office now for 2 years. Are you impressed in as far as the rule of law is concerned?
Yes and no. Yes, to the extent that by the time we were having the fresh elections, the rule of law had deteriorated much. Up to that point, there was violence. No one was being prosecuted. There was runaway corruption, thefts. It was the worst period since perhaps 2011 or thereabouts. So things were really going haywire. The Chief Justice and other judges were being pushed out. There was a lot that was going on there. Once the new government came up, all of that stopped. There was stability. There was a sense of a new beginning. That there was, there was even respite. So people were expecting that to continue. What I'm unhappy with is that the commitment to the rule of law seems to be selective. In fact, at the moment, there seems to be a coordinated effort, well-coordinated effort to excuse or to kind of insulate a certain group of people from justice. Because then we are back to where we were, to a place where we don't want to be.
And what needs to be done? How can we make the judiciary more powerful, more effective?
Now, the judiciary is very important, especially at this period, because we are dealing with decades of corruption, and these cases will end up in the courts. We hope all of them, because we have the history of starting criminal investigations and prosecutions that never end or drag out for long. The judiciary is very critical. Of course, there are indications that the judiciary is captured in part. And so we've got to be sure that the captured elements within the judiciary are not involved in the critical cases that we are talking about, that they are held accountable just as members of the executive, business, and all of that are held accountable. We have to make sure about that. But the most critical part of the judiciary is the Supreme Court, because that's where you get the authority of the judiciary. So you have to have people there who are absolutely ethically clean. And the suggestion is that not all of them up there are, because some names come up every time when there are issues of corruption, and we have to make sure that doesn't happen. So we have to hold people accountable, including in the judiciary. The president hasn't, to date, appointed the deputy chief justice. And because we have a chief justice who's male, the law requires that the deputy, or it is expected the deputy would be a female. And there are excellent female judges, record, that could be appointed. The president needs to exercise that authority, because then it gives everyone within the legal profession, at least, a semblance of seriousness about corruption. There will be many vacancies in that court, especially. There are some excellent judges in the High Court that could be promoted there, but they're not doing any vetting. So if they're serious about corruption, especially this government, they have to demonstrate it by the way they reform the judiciary, the way they strengthen the judiciary, because that's what gave them the authority that they have now. Without the courts, they were never going to be in power.
On May 31 this year, President Chakwera fired the Inspector General of Police and he suspended several people. He also chided the SCB boss. I wanted to get your thoughts on the decisions made by the president on this day.
I think that many people think that he did the right thing to be seen to be firm on corruption by firing some very powerful people. I think that was courageous of him. It was expected of him, and he lived according to the oath of his office. He needs to do that more proactively, in fact. It is unfortunate that his speech dealt with other things that were not necessary, including to openly castigate the ACB and its director. He shouldn't perhaps have done that because it undermines the authority of that institution. The thing is, if the ACB is supported, the ACB is strengthened, does its job, the person, the authority that will gain credit from this is the president. The president cannot fight corruption by himself or the government alone. The ACB has to do it. It's a statutory body that was created to do this. So if the ACB succeeds, the president succeeds.
The president blamed the ACB for sharing the report with Parliament and the judiciary. I also wanted to get your thoughts as Dean of the Faculty of Law at the University of Cape Town. Do you think the ACB did well? And is the president right also in condemning ACB on this development?
The ACB was clever in doing this because it was facing a difficult moment. It could not have disobeyed the president to produce that report within 21 days. But that request on its own was not lawful because the ACB doesn't report directly to the president under our constitutional legal scheme. The ACB could report to the director of public prosecutions, to the attorney general, and the president gets that information through there, but not directly like that. So by sending that report, which was not an annual report, to the judiciary, the head of the judiciary, and the head of parliament, there was parity, equality between these branches of government, that none of them was superior in terms of knowing the information that was contained in the report. So that was really what that was. But you also notice, at least from the information that is publicly available, that there are some people who are in the report or mentioned in the report who belong to these other branches of government, where the president themselves doesn't have the authority over. So it was a clever move by the SCB, I think.
So are you faulting the president?
I think he shouldn't have dwelt on it because if you found it wrong, it was. I mean, you have to be diplomatic. You have to know what is more important, what is right, even. So that's not something that he should have said if he was aggrieved in public.
Professor, allow us to take a short break. We'll be back with you in a moment. In case you're just joining us, this is Times Exclusive, airing on Times Network. My name is Brian Banda. I'm joined by Professor Danwood Chirwa, a Dean of the Faculty of Law at the University of Cape Town. He's joining us via Zoom link from Cape Town. The program tonight is coming to you under the auspices of Rainbow Paints. We'll take a short break and we'll be back momentarily.
Wow. I think Cape Beach looks amazing on the door.
The electric blue calls it for me.
Come on. Look at the tango, candy pink, burnt orange, ochre seed lime.
Do you like what you see? You can dream it and live it. Download your Rainbow app today and begin the magic of transforming your home into a fabulous space. Rainbow Paints. Peace of mind. Part of the deal.
This is Times exclusive, airing on Times Television. I'm Brian Banda. We welcome you to the second part of our interview, which is also the final part of our program tonight. I'm joined by Professor Danwood Chirwa, Dean of the Faculty of Law at the University of Cape Town. He's joining us via Zoom link. I hope you are still there, Professor Chirwa.
Certainly. Thanks.
Before we went for a commercial break, we were talking about the challenges that ACB faced in the 31 May speech by the president. I don't know if you finished your thoughts on that one, because I want us to move on.
We can move on.
Okay. What about the issue of admission of evidence? You remember that Justice Kapindu made a ruling on the admissibility of evidence. Now, if the Supreme Court reverses Justice Kapindu's ruling on admissibility of evidence, would that completely kill this case?
I don't think so. So the issue that was presented before the judge, I think, was premature, and it would also be premature to adjudicate this without the totality of the case being presented. It would be an unprecedented violation or interference into a prosecution, into an investigation and a prosecution. But the worry at the Supreme Court is exactly what we said before, because these are we call this, I'm not into criminal law, but I do remember that these are what are called interlocutory matters. Previously, we never had issues like this, which emerged from a case being taken to the Supreme Court, because those are matters that are happening in that case at a lower court level. Those matters must go only after the case has been completed to go to the Supreme Court. But we do have in Malawi the exploitation of rules. Lawyers come up with so many ways to exploit, and then the higher court behaves as if it is a lower court in entertaining some of these. You know, it's really supposed to be the highest court, where there is the best judges there, the most experienced, the most mature, the most wise. Sometimes we see that they have now evolved this loose arrangement where judges in the Supreme Court, sitting alone, dish out these rulings, which have really a negative impact on the administration of justice. One hopes that they stop this kind of conduct. And that, of course, it goes on to the first question, which is, to what extent is the judiciary clean? It is not wholly clean. I'm an advocate of the judiciary, but I know, lawyers know, that there are some people who are compromised. That's my fear there. to be fair. So, but this case needs to be given a chance. The ACB must investigate, must obtain all the relevant evidence, and only then, when it is ready to present that evidence, can that evidence be tested, whether it was illegally obtained or not, whether there is prejudicial effect of that evidence, whether its prejudicial effect is outweighed by the public, by the interests of justice. All those things can only happen when the SCB is ready, not the way it is being handled at the moment.
Yeah, but I understand that the SCB already moved the Attorney General to follow procedures required in Mutual Legal Assistance Act. But the Attorney General has probably done nothing about it. What are your views on that one?
So the problem that we have, which is puzzling, the Attorney General is an advisor to government.
Yeah.
And of course, the DPP is the one that is directly linked to issues of prosecution. The Attorney General, as an advisor to government, works also with the Minister of Justice. There, their role is facilitative. What we're seeing is not that kind of facilitation taking place. We are seeing more of obstruction. And that brings to the fore of the consistency of policy within the government. Because the Ministry of Justice is a policy arm. It's supposed to set a vision for the administration of justice. It is supposed to set the tone. So if there's an agency that focuses on corruption, the Ministry of Justice, which is committed to ending corruption, provides support. It facilitates. How can we help? What do you need? Give us a little bit more information. Oh, we can help you with that. Do you need more staff? Okay, we can argue for you in government to support. That's not what is happening here. There is obstruction. And that obstruction, we know why it is happening. It is because some group of powerful people need to be protected.
Do you believe that our country, our government, has been captured, as in state capture?
The evidence that we can see on the face of it suggests that it has been captured.
What is your definition of state capture?
State capture, in simple terms, is when those elected to carry out the functions of the state do so at the behest of shadowy figures unaccountable to the public. So these tend to be business people. These tend to be, it could be a criminal network, as it were. Those who hold the levers of power de facto, while the elected officials appear to be acting in accordance with the law, but the power is exercised outside their offices. They just implement what they're told. In this case, there is evidence to suggest that this is happening. The way the Ministry of Justice came up with the theory of, or the policy proposal of amnesty, that does not make sense at all. And you have to ask, why are they doing this? Why would a ministry, a department, a government ministry established to uphold the rule of law, propose something that would be fundamentally at odds with the rule of law? That suggests there's something here. Who is being protected? And from the information that is emerging, we can see that the network of corruption is so vast. It's so vast. It's so huge. It is shocking to everybody else, except those that are in power. Why don't they express outrage at this? Why don't they say, we cannot accept this to be happening this is too huge. We never thought it is this huge, because this is what is being seen by everybody, that this is a huge network. Let's name it. The SATA network is huge, but that's just one. There's not only that network of corruption, there are other networks as well.
I'm glad you talked about the Attorney General and the ACB. What needs to be done in making sure that the three institutions, the Office of the ACB and the Attorney General and the Director of Public Prosecutions, are working in tandem? You know, the president had to chide them one day to say, can you please work together? What is the missing link in your view, Professor Chirwa?
The missing link is simple. The government has to do more than say we are committed to corruption. It's got to instruct the three men in charge of these matters. There is the Minister of Justice, the Attorney General, it is the DPP, that corruption is number one goal. You have to work towards making sure that we end this, and that is by supporting all government agencies dealing with this, whether it is investigatory agencies, whether it's in the police, the ACB, the other institutions as well. They all have to be empowered, and their job must be to support them to make sure that corruption is dealt with decisively. I think the president would need to be bored in this, in that he needs to demonstrate publicly that I am recommitting myself to this. Replace these three office holders. That would be my suggestion. Appoint new, credible people, new faces that will come with a new message, and that message has to be consistent, and there has to be action to back it up with.
The Chirwa administration is clocking 2 years now this week. What would be the positives and the negatives in your view, Professor Chirwa?
So the positive is that we have not seen, so it was good that they came in, they gave people hope, there was some relief to people, so there was a break. The break with the past government was necessary, because we don't know what would have happened by now if that had continued to this. So them being in power for the last 2 years has been good, that there has been a break. At least that group was held accountable. Now, the bad thing is that we needed to see a clear break with the past. We needed to see a clear break with the past, and that break, and there have been opportunities that have been created. Of course, there have been challenges as well, but there have been good opportunities that were presented that should have been taken advantage of. The first one was exactly this matter of corruption. They should have decisively dealt with corruption from the beginning. They let it fester. They spent much time exposing the corruption that had happened before, without creating the institutional and the policy framework for making sure that it doesn't happen again. They also lost on the COVID, on the health problem that we had. That was an opportunity. As I said, if you have challenges, that's when you rise to the occasion. You use it. You use that to advance your goals. The health sector in Malawi is a crisis. It really cries out for attention and making a difference there. That COVID emergency gave the government an opportunity to say, let's improve this health sector for once and for all. They did not. They bungled it. They used it to appropriate money, billions of money, for which they haven't accounted now. If that money was used to beef up the health systems, I mean, we'll be talking about an improved health sector. I don't know whether I can say
it's interesting hearing you talk on COVID. You are saying that COVID was an opportunity, but the people here, those in power, they are saying that they haven't been able to move forward because of COVID and the war in Ukraine. Which side now should we listen? Because you're saying that COVID was an opportunity, but the government says we couldn't do what we promised to do because of COVID.
Because they don't see opportunities when they arise. COVID gave them an opportunity to appropriate emergency funding, locally and internationally. Where is that money? What did they do with it? I was there when that was unfolding. I was there in Malawi. I witnessed some of the operations in the hospitals that were taking place, which were a shambles at that time. That was an opportunity to use those resources to beef up hospital systems, build up the sector, and there was the whole world to listen to that at that stage. But what we saw was that they were quick at having meetings. As I said, you have to do what you're supposed to do. Come up with ideas, action them as quickly as possible. You don't need workshops, you don't need allowances. You just have to sit in your office and let people do their job. They did not do that. In any case, Malawi did not really implement the lockdown for any sustained period of time. The government continued to operate the way it wanted. At that stage, what they needed to do, as far as I'm concerned, was to cut on expenditure, needless expenditure, but they were traveling all over the place. They needed to take stock of where the finances of the government were, to cut wasteful expenditure and prioritize. At that stage, it was health, it was the rule of law, corruption, accountability, and perhaps education. Those were the main issues at that time. They didn't deal with the three. Because of that, we are now in a situation where the government has lost a lot of money and it cannot make up for that loss. The government cannot collect much because people are not making enough money. So the source of revenue is much reduced. Other states are facing the same challenge. So the Ukraine one is really something that Malawi couldn't have done anything about. So every country is being impacted by the Ukraine war. So we can grant them this. The difference is that because they are running so low on reserves, they don't even have any reserves to talk about. They cannot cushion the people. There are no economic cushions. There's no way they can come up and say, okay, we'll remove these levies. In fact, they added taxes like on cooking oil. I mean, things like that, which is what they had to do because they don't have money. The troubling thing is that even now, they don't seem to sit down and reflect. How do we get ourselves out of this? Yeah, that's the troubling part. To sit down and say, okay, can we reflect on where we went wrong? Themselves, not listening to people like us or others, but let's sit down, let us reflect. Where did we go wrong? How are we going to do this well? So, but they do things erratically. Recently, they just said no conferences, no workshops at the lake and all that. That's an isolated thing to do. You're not dealing with a carefully planned action. You are not thinking about what is going on in a sustained way. You have to sit down, calculate, where are we losing money? Where can we save? Where do we need to spend? If we have to spend, how much? Where can we get money that is owed to us? Things like that. They seem not to be that organized leadership that is going on, and they seem to be rather random action that is going on.
The Tonse government has 3 more years. Do you see them improving on the economic front, governance front, and the other promises that they made to Malawians? Or is all lost now?
Not all is lost now.
Yeah.
Because they have the opportunity to reverse course and reboot. They have all the chance. Do I see them taking the opportunity? I would have to be proven otherwise, which would be nice. They need to prove people like me wrong, which is good. If they prove me wrong, then everybody is happy. So they have the opportunity to do it. They have to recognize the challenge that they face and accept that challenge. They have to recognize that and to define the challenge. What is the challenge that they face? The challenge that they face is that they govern a country that is disaffected at this point. It is very disappointed. There is no hope. People are suffering, and there seems to be no direction. What they need to do is to recognize this and turn it into an opportunity. You turn that into an opportunity by recognizing that the government has all these positions that they have. They are strategic positions. They see it as goods to be distributed among patrons. They've got to see government positions as strategic positions. Therefore, they will appoint people with that kind of thinking, people who are competent and will use those positions to advance their agenda. The agenda being the lawful agenda, the vision that they have, what they promise to Malawians, not any other agendas such as theft and all of that. They have to do that. They have to sit in their offices. So at the moment, what we see from outside is a government on the move. It's a government on the move. So they abandon their lawful jobs that they must exercise. They function as a minister. I have to be in my office. I must be sitting with my accounting offices. I must be knowing what is it that you have done there. Where are we? I must be thinking about policy. What is working, what is not working. Every time, that's their function. That's the president's job to do, to know what is happening everywhere at any particular time. They don't do that. They focus on appearances, and then they focus on appeasing the people wherever they go, and waste a lot of time. Every government that does this fails because the real job does not happen. It doesn't take long. They appear to be interested in moving about and not doing the job. So they have to do their job. That's the third bit is to deal with the trust deficit. And this comes from underperformance, under delivery of services, and from corruption. This question of corruption, it's corruption. It's got to be dealt with. It's got to be dealt with by letting the institutions that are supposed to deal with it, and supporting those institutions without qualification. Not, I'm fighting this person, but you, Anti-Corruption Bureau, you're trashed. You're trash. Your reports are ridiculous. That doesn't help. It's 100% support without qualification. If you see that there are some capacity issues there, you have to provide the capacity to that's your duty. That's what you're employed to do. And then match action to what is said. So in this government, there's a huge gap between what is said and what is done. I mean, the president says this today, tomorrow he does the opposite. It just doesn't take long. I mean, it doesn't even take a month, and everyone sees the contradictions like that. The consistency of action, there has to be a and what is done. And if they can do that, they will reverse course. It will not take long.
The government has put up austerity measures, like the one you talked about, no conferences along the lake and in Ponela, and so many others. Do you think these will yield any result? Yes or no?
No.
No?
No.
Why?
Because that's just the most trivial austerity measure that they have talked about. Because they haven't even backed it up with statistics. They haven't said conferences and workshops cost us so much a month. If we stop them, this is so much we're going to save. And this is this is what we will save. And therefore, from the things that we need to spend, this will benefit us this way. This is so trivial from my point of view, because it mustn't be it can't be where the money is being lost. Money is being lost through networks of looting that is taking place. They haven't gone into that to say, why are we still losing a lot of money? I'm reading a book which I've been asked to write a book review about. It's written by Malawian scholars, Beyond Impunity. It's reflecting on the elections that happened in 2019 and 2020, and there you see evidence that Malawi loses its resources not just when it has already been deposited into the consolidated fund. There's a nice chapter there by Chingaipe who shows this. We lose money well before the MRA deposits it into the consolidated fund. Then we lose it when it is there. And then from the statutory corporations. That's where we're leaking money. We have an extremely aggressive tax system that punishes the very poor. Malawians are some of the most heavily taxed individuals in the country. Now, you have to ameliorate their situation. You have to reduce that tax burden. But we cannot do that because there is a leak in the coffers.
Unfortunately, time is of essence. We have to leave it there. We wish we had more time. I want to give you a minute to give us your final thought for tonight.
I think Malawi has a lot of potential. This government has a lot of potential. It just has to seize it. And if it does, it will give hope to all Malawians, within Malawi and abroad. It's long overdue, and everybody will be happy with their achievement. They just have to do it.
Professor Danwood Chirwa, Dean of the Faculty of Law at the University of Cape Town. Quite intriguing, I must say, hearing you tonight. We wish we had more time. Thank you for joining us all the way from Cape Town in this edition of Times Exclusive.
Thank you, Brian, and your listeners and viewers. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, on that note, we conclude this week's edition of Times Exclusive here on Times Television. In this edition, I was privileged to be joined by Professor Danwood Chirwa, Dean of the Faculty of Law at the University of Cape Town. My name is Brian Banda, from all of us here at Times headquarters in Blantyre. Thanking you for joining us tonight, and goodbye.
How can I help you?
I stay here. I'm living.
Oh, Agnes's boyfriend.
Yes.
How can I forget?
I want you out of this house. Agnes.
first thing tomorrow morning.
If you're having second thoughts about us, then let me know about it. Okay? Because this is not working. This hide and seek is not for me to go, and I'm sorry.
Guys, somewhere I don't know the name. Did you have to answer it? Also, I'm going to go for the name.
Women, who understands them? Not me.
The day I was looking forward to is finally here. They want to know what hit them. The surprise I have for them is big.
I wish you all the best. We don't want the surpriser to get surprised.
Never.
Well, good luck. Thank you.
How could I forget? Tuko. Let's call me yesterday to come on.
Okay.
Sure.
Hello, Tupo.
I know why you are here. Oh, yes. You are here for young Huentufajo.
And how do you know that? Oh, she's your sister. Ah, so what role are you playing in this?
Listen, Tafazo is my sister, yes. And she has been planning all this for quite some time now. Because of what you and Yanko did to her. To say the truth, I mean, I don't blame you guys for putting her in her place. So let's go. She's expecting me.
No, but even if what you're saying is true, Yanko has fallen for her trap.
No, he did not. He has just been playing along with this, waiting for this moment. In fact, this whole thing was my plan. The only person being played around here is Tafato. So let's go.
Oops, who's that?
Tupo, what are you doing here?
I'm here to take you home. My husband.
Sofino.
The show is over, kids.
What have you done, you idiot?
What I needed to do. And that is saving the relationship. Your venom needs to be diverted elsewhere. Not on innocent people.
You should have told me.
And then miss this show? No way.
You pay for this, all of you.
Don't you ever again come near my man, or else you're gonna be sorry.
You don't scare me.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Can someone please take care of the cat? But my wife and I would like to thank all of you guys on our special day, and I don't take that for granted. May God bless you. Thank you very much. And in a special way, I would like to thank my wife also for showing up. All right. Chechikulu nthokoze nduzo ziri muli nali ndi zambiri zochita koma munaona kuti mchantengo wapatali kuti muzakhale nafe limodzi on our special day, and we don't take that for granted. May God bless you. Thank you very much. Well, to my wife, my best friend, my soulmate, I can't promise you so much, okay? But I love you, and I'll love you to eternity. I know that sometimes it can be annoying. A lot of things. And a little bit too much. But one thing that I would like to assure you right now is that I will not change. Because I do come through as a package. So you'd have to accept that particular package. But otherwise, I really, really do love you. And I love you so much. All right. Whew. Okay. Sorry. I'm not good at this.
You're such an idiot.
Thank you, family and friends, for coming here to witness the special union between me and my husband. And honestly, I feel like I'm the luckiest woman on earth because I've married my best friend. I don't know how many people are as braced as I am. Yeah, don't worry. God will brace you, my brother. It shall come to pass, okay? Yanko knows me. He understands me, and sometimes I feel like he reads my mind. We have our ups and downs, but I couldn't wish for another partner. We have done crazy things together. I tell you about what I love about us. My husband, you don't have to change a thing. I love you the way you are. Thank you. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, that's amazing, eh? You know, palanza kwena amena mawiwa. Endama za kukumbukira akakufuna tobano. Akafuna nothandizo lako. So that's Yanko, yeah? Not that I'm complaining anyway. I've known Yanko for a long time. And I've never seen him this happy. Trust me. To me, this is a guy in love. Yeah, I call it. You know, people marry for different reasons. Unfortunately, yeah? But to these two, they are really in love, guys. They are really in love. And I'm very happy to know I'm part of this, to witness this amazing event. And God bless this couple. All right, so at this point, allow me to invite parents from both sides to share their happiness, being a reason why we are here today. Thank you.
Hey, ine ndikusowa chonena kwa basi ndilibe mawu ndazaza ndi chimwemwe chachikulu chifukwa cha ukwati wa mwana wanga yangu. Ukwati wokongola, ukwati wabwino wandipezera mwana wanga wina ndikuti family yathu yakula sopano. Zikomo kwambiri ndikufuna madamu Kayali kuti kayali apita kuseri kukuphedwa ng'ombe kwa abwere pano akazanga nawo.
Babe, are you dozing? Please don't tell me the fish is not ready. Fish? Babe, I brought an order an hour ago for fish and sima.
I'm sorry, madam.
I don't know how I missed it. I'm sorry. Are you okay? Is everything okay? You just can't miss an order like that.
I'm okay. Just that I didn't sleep well last night. I'm sorry, madam.
You know what? Why don't you take a day off? I'll cover for you.
Please, no.
No, don't worry. Just make sure you go home, rest.
Wakey, wakey. Oh, come on. Won't you ask me how it was? Okay, I'll tell you. Because I know you're dying inside. It was beautiful. Those two are madly in love with each other. You should have seen how they looked. And the speeches. Oh Lord. True love still exists. And Yanko.
Can you shut your stupid mouth?
Yanko Tutubo. He'll love her till eternity.
One more word from you, and you regret it. What is this?
They're my clothes.
What are they doing here?
Sasa ndio kuna huko. Kuna mstozi.
Mustozi wewe ngawane umeme ndakugona. Mulima wari muntu utugona mene muze. Wait a minute.
Rozai. Now that I'm staying in your house, I think we are friends, right?
Yeah, we are.
So I know we're in Mafu, so I'm busy. But I'll try to be honest with you. My fiance kicked me out at the age for in Dinaro and she was a chef while I'm having a degree in civil engineering. Which part?
The whole party. Olozedwa yeyo. Nchira menezo soiram. Ndwachi bwana.
Ndiye neyo bana yunda ndawisa kwambini mwana wangu. And mwana kuira I don't think I can roll with mwana ndika muone.
Aganiza mwana ndi mwana wake eka. She's stupid usama mdanda ule kaza nini. After all zabe kaza wangu.
Zauzai, I'm no longer interested in any relationship. Ababola zingolimbika nchiro.
You are like a good woman will find you.
Maziba.
My manners. Never right. No place.
Uncle's wife. Hello. Do you know Kain? Okay. Yeah, alipo. Brian Jones.
Hello, Mom. Hey, I will take on nothing, I did. Hey. And then do them is 20,000 was your masana. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, I hope we don't have there. And the one I did it, we were now almost at the time. That's right. I want to get some more. Never was someone else.
So what was that? How do you like this in Chile?
The getting the guy, you saw what I said.
They will change my business. That's what they do.
No, that's somebody. Tirare sugar.
What facciamo? Ciao, madame. is my handbag? I left it here last night. Why are my things here? Sungeni. Sungeni gam. Ubira ulingana bagya. Iyi ndibweretse mara ndibona. Ndibifuna ndibyoga. Bira ngare ngayigirira bena ya Agnes. Lisa. Unagafuna sawa wewe unalandi bemba. Osade kulibera. Kwani mukanga ndiko mubira kumukanga pindu manje. Ndakuzo sindu kumukanga pindu. Mina mukanga pindu nanga yinga kupada yanje. Lipstick.
You are with Paul. You are in the safest place I can think of. So stop worrying. Sorry, I have to bounce.
Sorry. We can't. I'm not talking about today. We can just let it flow.
Let what flow? Sorry.
Come in.
You're kidding me, right?
How dare you?
Wow. Why am I being fooled?
Are you?
Oh, yeah. Alipo, zilipo, zoto bamaso, bazikoli, zilipo, akazi oko, golaso, alipo, amuna oneka wino, so, alipo, zilipo, zoto bamaso, bazikoli, zilipo, akazi oko, golaso, alipo, amuna oneka wino, so, alipo. Yene ndikufuna kukambako makamaka kwa mwana wa mamayo wanjoye teta waliona ziku kuzuna waliona kusekemera kumukilasi zonse zonyezimira zomwe zimakala kolide mpwanga indedi zokomaza chuluka alipo zilipo zoto bamaso bazikoli zilipo akazi oko ngolaso alipo amuna oneka wino so alipo moyo undikapito ndeweka ukari kapitao obeza kuribe situru yomwe ungaguleko wina moyo undikapito ndeweka ukari kapitao obeza kuribe situru yomwe ungaguleko wina alipo zilipo zoto bamaso bazikoli zilipo akazi oko ngolaso alipo amuna oneka wino so alipo iwezi samare moyo uchengetere zilipo zambiri utapa kutaya iwe ungosankha zochepa zoti zikusungi moyo uno zilipo.
It's about time. Tikulatire ndi program ya sabata ino ya Mind Power pano pakanema wa Times, ndipo dzina langa ndi William Kumwembe.
Sikuti chilichonse chongoti mbendi mkakatu ayi. Mkaka sikuyerako ayi, koma zomwe zimapezeka mkatimo zomwe thupi limafuna. Kulilongwe dere kumachokera mkaka wochokera ku ng'ombe za alimi osiyanasiyana. First Choice Long Life Milk. First Choice Long Life Milk sufune friji, ndipo ndi mkaka wa aliyense, ana achikulire komanso inu ochita masewero. Mkaka wanu ndi First Choice Long Life Milk. First Choice Long Life Milk uli m'mapaketi a 250 ml komanso 500 ml. Mashopu, maokala, mavenda amene amagulitsa First Choice Long Life Milk akudziwa bwino lomwe za phindu la bizinesi lomwe amapeza. Makina omwe ali kulilongwe dere amaonetsetsa kuti mkakawo usapukutike, koma muumwe uli wathunthu timavitamini take tili momwemo tonse tomwe thupi limafuna. Nambala ya kulilongwe dere ndi iyi 01753 111 kapena 01754 111. Lilongwe dere 2001 Limited ndiye kasupe wa mkaka.
Programu ya matibatsira ndi Lilongwe dere, ndipo sindili ndekha, ndili ndi a Henry Kajaje. Tikulandireni mpprogramu ya lero.
Zikomo kwambiri.
Lero tikambirane mutu oti don't let the present define your vision. Tuunika mfundo zimene mudatigawirako mbuyomu, makamaka mbuku limene mudalemba. Life's Golden Nuggets, 50 life transforming lessons. Imodzi mwa mfundo zimene mudatambasula mmene ndiloti don't let the present define your vision. Mudalemba mchengerezi bukuli. Pali ganizo loti kulitanthauzira kuti likhale mzilankhulo zingapo.
Tingofusa zathu a linguistic. Kuti kodi adati don't let the present define your vision. Alemba bwanji mchichewa. Koma ganizo mwane nalo tiliganizire kuti kodi patakhala mchichewa mwina ngosangapo ndithu mfundo tingapo kutika
into the native. Koma iyi utanthauza chani don't let the present define your vision?
Chimene ndikunena apa mchonena kuti nthawi zina mmoyomo timakhala kuti nanga si present ndi lero
lino.
Tunena pano kupisa thumba ili makobidi kulibe. Pisa thumba ili makobidi kulibe. Kuyesera aja amba au mulibe.
That makes the two of us.
So ukayangana makobidi ulibe. That is your present. But does it necessarily mean kuti pofika sabata la mawa umuso mukhamuka dalibe? So when we are saying don't let the present define your vision, ningani yonena kuti nthawi zina anthu timatsamwitsidwa ndi zimene tikukumana nazo lero mpaka nazimatidulira tsogolo lathu, chifukwa choti takhazikika pa zalero ndi kuzilola zalerozi zidule tsogolo lathu. In other words, ndipereka mwina zitsanzo zitatu. Mwana wina wa msungwana sadamvere bwino makolo ake, momwe tazikakhala ku sukulu ya boarding, amadumpha mpanda ndanzake